Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Trinity Competitive Racing. This is round 2 in silver class, the French Grand Prix, the Paul Ricard circuit in, oh, I'm going to butcher this pronunciation, Le Castellet in France. That was terrible, and we have French drivers in the league as well, so I'm sure they'll be very disappointed in me for that one, so apologies. But anyway, my name's Charlie Doc, and I'm joined once again for round 2 by 007 Professional. So how are you doing this evening?
Hey, how are you? I had to kind of hold back my laugh a little bit as you were pronouncing that track name. Yeah, I'm sure the French guys are going to come after us with some fire and pitchforks, but no, it's great to be back here. We've traveled a few thousand miles from the secure international circuit to the French track. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce the name, but we are here in France. It is sunny, and the drivers are out on track attempting to put in their first qualifying laps. We had a really amazing and very eventful round 1 last week, where Granty Boy did score his first win of TCR and just completely dominated the field. So I'm really looking forward to see how he handles today and how he gets on.
Yeah, it was an interesting Grand Prix in terms of Granty Boy laying down a marker, and there were a few drivers who maybe felt they could have been up there challenging Granty, but had some issues in the race. I'm thinking particularly about Breezy and also Bamboo, who were second to Granty at various points during the race, but had problems with other drivers or just with spins which ruined their chances in that Grand Prix. I don't actually know, just looking through the list, if Breezy is here tonight, 007. I can't see his name.
No, I think he was, because he was a reserve driver last week, so he won't be here every race. I think he'll try to be here as much as he can, but he's not expected to be here every week. So I think that's why we're missing him today.
Granty Boy has already set down a very intimidating marker with a lap time of 1 minute 27.8.
Holy moly.
As we see Crooner put himself into P3 with a 128.6, but currently 0.6 of a second between Granty and Rockstar in second position at the moment.
That's crazy. I'm quite surprised and definitely impressed, though, by Granty Boy, putting in a time that's 0.6 higher than his next competitor, who's, Rockstar in the Williams. But we see a lot of the drivers on different tire compounds at the moment, so they're putting in their banker laps. Probably all going to go to the soft tire towards the end of the session. And I don't know if there's any chance of rain for the race. So I think there's people are going to just put on the soft tire and go for it. We might see kind of a mix of strategy as we did last week for the race with the medium tire and the soft tire. I do know that the soft tire here does degrade quite quickly. I think it only can go for 6 or 7 laps, if that. It's a quite demanding track, heat-wise, with the tires. A lot of long, sweeping corners, especially the corners after the back straight with the turn 8, turn 9 chicane in the middle. It's a really long, kind of sweeping right-hander, and you put a lot of load on that left side of the car. So depending on how the drivers want to set up their cars, you could see different types of tire wear between different drivers and different manufacturers.
Absolutely. Things a bit quiet out on track at the moment. A few drivers have set a lap time, but at the moment Blin is on an out lap. I think there's a few drivers just coming in after setting a lap time. So, but we've still got 11 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. Of course, short qualifying for TCR events, so one 18-minute long session, and then a 50% race to follow on from that. So Blin Machine just coming through the third sector at the moment. Also to mention that Turkey Wacker has a back of the grid penalty, Professional.
Yes, he is allowed to go out on track during the qualifying session, but can only set an installation in like an out lap and then has to pit before he crosses the line. The reason for that is if you accumulate 3 penalty points within a 16 race period here in TCR, the stewards will award you a back of the grid penalty that you have to serve at the following race that you attend. And so last week in Bahrain, Turkey Whacker did acquire 3 penalty points. Unfortunately, we never want to see that, but it did happen, and so he's going to be starting from P19 on the grid. He's going to have a lot of work to do, but knowing turn 1 and turn 2 here in France, that may be a blessing in disguise because of the alternate strategy and because of potential collisions and potential wrecks. So he's going to have to just kind of watch himself and watch the drivers in front. Maybe let some other drivers get into, some crashes. Hopefully not, but if that does happen, Turkey Whacker can definitely take advantage of that.
Yeah, I kind of feel that a back of the grid starting penalty is not really the worst thing in the world that you could get, because you've still got the race to make up for that, and you just never know with racing, like what's going to happen at the start. There could be instances where quite a few people take themselves out, or safety cars could play a big part. So it's certainly better than after the race getting a time penalty, which could then just completely mess up your result, and you can't do anything about it at that point.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think for Thursday, whenever we do our platinum race, maybe starting outside the top 10 could yield a better race result for us. Being on the alternate strategy on the medium tire, maybe starting out. So I'm really curious to see how that plays out again at this track, because we knew that the medium hard strategy last week at Bahrain was the prime strategy to go with, and the soft to hard or the soft medium was just a little bit slower for the race time and all that stuff. So I'm watching right now Crooner. I think he's first up to start his flying lap. So let's see if he can improve on his 28.6. And then behind him, I think, is the Alfa Romeo of Tyre, who is about to start his as well. But on board with Crooner, and let's see what he can do.
Yeah, I'm on board with Crooner as well. He's just gone into the chicane of turns 1 and 2, where you have to be quite aggressive through there, take quite a lot of curb. In turn 3, which is a 5th gear corner, and then slowing down immediately to the left, and then even slower to the right. In this quite twisty section at the end of the first sector, and now gearing up for the long back straight before the chicane of turns 8 and 9, and DRS is activated for Crooner as he comes up to the turns 8 and 9 chicane, braking just around the 100-meter board there, and taking quite a lot of the curb on the inside for turn 8, which you can do around this track, and that can potentially gain you quite a lot of time. Coming towards turn 10 now, which is easily flat out for these cars, and then another fast right-hander of turn 11, potentially coming up to some traffic here with the Ferrari of Forza Juve, but he gets out of the way as Crooner now comes through turn 12 and 13. And now the final sequence of corners at the end of the lap, turns 14 and the slow right-hand hairpin of turn 15, before opening up the DRS again on the pit straight, and Crooner coming up to the line to settle 128.5. So a slight improvement there for Crooner, but he does remain in P4.
Yeah, that was actually really nice lap to watch, and he took advantage of the curbs and kind of the track limits that we set out. I wonder what kind of downforce he's running though on his wing. I don't know if he's running high downforce or low downforce. It's kind of a balance, because sector 1, especially the turns 3, 4, 5, and 6, you really need some wing to get the car rotated in turn. But then obviously the back straight into turn 8 and 9, you really want to run low downforce, and then into sector 3, you want that medium kind of to high downforce again. So drivers having to kind of choose. I think ERS management's going to be a little tough here, and kind of where to deploy and all that. So the race should be interesting in that sense. I do expect some good battles between a lot of our drivers here tonight.
Bamboo has put himself up into provisional pole for the time being. He's just on a 127.6, and that's exactly what we want to see after last week. Nip Stevens just put himself up into P3 with a 128.1 as well, so Nip Stevens getting himself up into the thick of it here. But yeah, after such a dominant performance last week from Granty, I feel like now it's time for some of the guys around him to really step up and show what they're made of, and lay down a marker or challenge Granty going into the next few rounds, and especially for Bamboo, who is the defending champion in silver class.
Yeah, I think Bamboo also, he had a race last week where he, was an innocent car that kind of got taken out, but he got into an incident with El Capitan. El Capitan just kind of ran on the inside curb of turn 12, and Bamboo was just innocent bystander. So I think if that didn't happen, Bamboo probably would have finished in the top 3, and would have been able to challenge Granty Boy a little bit. Maybe even win the race. I'm not quite sure, but it's good to see Bamboo up there. And if he can hold P1, it's going to be a really interesting run down to turn 1 and turn 2, depending on who has the inside line and who has the outside line.
Yeah, and Bamboo actually did pretty well to recover from his incident with El Capitan in Bahrain. He still managed to finish 5th and pick up 10 points. Oh no, wait, sorry. He finished 10th and picked up 1 point. So he finished in the points all the same. But yeah, definitely for him. And with the shorter championship, as we've said before, you really cannot waste any time trying to post some good results and racking up some points. You've really got to be on the ball every single round of the season, and if you happen to fall back in one race with a bad result, then the need just becomes even greater to respond well and pick up a win.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to climb it back. Something I just noticed, though, and I don't know if you have Chatty or not, the clouds.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
They weren't here at the beginning of the session, but they are here now. So that's going to change the track temperature. It's going to change the grip level. So I don't know, does it make it more grippy, or is it less grippy with the clouds? Or do you know?
I think it doesn't really make that much of a difference unless it starts raining, because obviously you've got track evolution playing a key role in this as well, in terms of how much grip you get from the tyres. So I don't think that the clouds will impact that at all unless it does start to rain. But yeah, they have really rolled in rather quickly, and it's got dark.
Really?
Very quickly. I mean, we've only got 2.5 minutes left in this session, but you never know.
You never know. On board with Juan. Juan is running a different name today, so don't get thrown off by that. It's L1F1, and then his usual name, Juan de Bru. But you can't miss it. It's all in capital letters. He's just starting his his flying lap, his last attempt, already into turn number 4 into turn 5. And Juan actually had a really good result last week. I think it was P5 or P6, if I'm not mistaken. But a lot of good points for him. And right now, currently sitting in P8 on a 129.3. He just entered the back straight. So let's see kind of his top speed and see where he's braking for turn 8. There's some different lines you can take. You can either be really aggressive into this corner here, or you can try to open it up, which he's kind of done, and then hit the apex nicely, get on the power as soon as you can, and just shoots out of the corner, opens up the ERS. And let's see how he takes this. I think this corner is flat out in a Formula 1 car. It is not flat out, however, in a GT3 car. Had a race this past Sunday, and you do have to downshift a few gears and definitely hit the brakes. This sequence of corners here is extremely difficult to kind of gauge, but he nailed that pretty nicely. And then here you want to take a late apex. He actually took kind of an early apex. I'm not sure if he's going to lose out on the exit. Maybe a few tenths there. This corner here is a bit difficult. It tightens up right there and then into the last corner. Hits the apex nicely. Don't get too much on the curb because that can unsettle the car, which happened on the last corner. And across the line. Moves up one spot to P7, 28.9. I think he might have actually had P6. But a few... Oh, is that rain?
I think...
It's
yes.
raining. Oh.
Right as the likes of Bamboo and Nip Steven and Granty Boy are going out for their final runs. Oh.
This could affect them. Bamboo has just started his lap too.
Yeah, and Granty Boy's still on his outlap, so he is going to experience the worst of the conditions. Nip Steven is Granty gone off?
He went off before he started his lap, but I think Granty Boy might have missed his opportunity. Let's see if the track is doesn't get saturated, but the rain is definitely falling.
Yeah, Nip Stephen is in the third sector. He was a tenth down after the second sector, so... Oh no, he's pulled into the pits, so he's bailed on his lap. Bamboo is slightly slower than his best effort so far as well, only by 0.03 of a second, but still not in the green at this stage. Let's see what happens.
Commitment into that corner.
Yeah, that looked amazing from the off-board. It looked like he was right on the edge there. And now coming through, is that turn 12? Yep, turn 12 and 13 now. Will he bail on his lap as well?
He's bailing, but Granty Boy is up by 600ths or almost 700ths of a second. So he is just right on the cusp of taking P1, and he's right on the limit. He's kind of off the track. I don't know if that's a slower or faster line, but I guess we'll find out. Here's 0.2 up. Going into Sector 3, he's got it right now. He needs to hold it. Really, really commit himself, and let's hope that the rain stays away for a second. It's pretty nice. A very different line, though, than we've seen other drivers take.
He's got a bit
so
of
far,
traffic.
So good, though.
Yeah. There was a Ferrari there who managed to get out of the way. He's got, is it an Alfa Romeo just in front of him as well? Although he's pulled off into the pits. So Granty through turn 15, the final corner. Is this enough as the rain begins to fall in France to take his second consecutive pole position? Yes, by 0.4 of a second. Unbelievable lap from Granty, given the circumstances. I mean, wow. This guy just...
He just completely smashed that. I mean, we didn't think, because, he was up by, what, a few hundreds, and then 0.2, then 0.4. So he gained a lot in Sector 3. That's mighty impressive by Granty.
Yeah, and it's a shame that Bamboo and Nip Stephen were not able to complete their laps at the end there, but Granty Boy just able to find the grip when apparently no one else could. And once again showing, well, proving to himself very early on in the season to be a definite contender for the championship.
Absolutely. Let's see, D-Swish down in P6 to around, actually, P9, like, that's pretty close. That kind of the midfield here is quite close, or around 1.5, 1.6 seconds to around 2.3. Yeah, the gap's a little big, but around this track, I think that's pretty good.
Very European flavour in the top 5. Two Englishmen, 2 Frenchmen, and a Spaniard, or at least the flags that they have representing them anyway.
Yes, love to see it.
But now we wait to see if there's going to be rain for the race as well. Well, it is cloudy.
It's slightly cloudy, yeah. But, we saw how quickly that changed in qualifying.
Yeah, so it could go either way, couldn't it? We could end up with rain within a few laps, or it could be completely dry and sunny. Who knows? Well, the drivers know, that's for sure.
Yeah, the drivers know, we don't. We just have a roof over our heads, and just in case.
Yeah. But we wait for the drivers now to prepare their strategies and fuel setups for the Grand Prix. 27 laps for a 50% race at the French Grand Prix. And just interesting to note... Yep, go on.
Sorry, I kind of like how we're saying the French Grand Prix, and we're not saying the track name because we'll butcher it.
Oh, I think the track name is just so hard. That's okay. It's just the next bit, which I think is the area in France, which I embarrassed myself once on this stream. I'll leave it.
So we're about to be going in here in a few seconds to start our formation lap. But what strategy do you think would be the prime optimum strategy? What do you think, Chatty?
Well, I think that it's going to be potentially a similar story to Bahrain, in so much that I think for the guys outside of the top 10, yeah, and pretty much everyone starting on the mediums. So I think you can go medium hards around here for a one-stop. Starting on the softs, I don't know. I think for the softs, unless your tyre conservation is really good, you're going to have to go for the two-stop, which, well, when I was practicing over the weekend, it was soft, medium, medium was what the game was recommending. So I think for the top 10, who are also of course starting on tyres that they used during qualifying, so they're already a little bit worn, they're going to have to go for a two-stop. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. And maybe, because you mentioned earlier, 007, about the clouds and whether that would have an effect. It could have an effect on tyre temperature, because, you know, if it's a bit cooler, then maybe the track temperature will come down slightly, and it could have an effect on, you know, how well the drivers can maintain their tyres. So that will be interesting to keep an eye on.
Yeah, this game is definitely more sensitive than previous F1 games regarding the tire temperature. You know, you have to have it in a certain window for the tires to really work, and for the tire life as well. So I wonder if it's, you know, if it gets more cloudy, if it gets more sunny, then drivers might have to work just a bit harder to try to keep their tires in that temperature window. But yeah, I'm interested to see what happens between Granty and Bamboo down into turn 1. You know, Bamboo I think is going to be been drifting it around that corner. Holy moly! But Bamboo I think wants to get out in front, but we know he's not the most aggressive driver from last season. In season 10, he's more conservative. He thinks the long game. He's extremely good at conserving ERS. So I think he'll just try to stay in Granty Boy if he cannot get past him by the time they hit turn 6, which is the entrance to the back straight. But here they come for the start of the French Grand Prix, round 2 here of TCR. I'm excited, so let's strap in and let's get going.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't race here in season 10, so it's the first time that we've seen this track on this game in TCR. And now the lights are coming on for the start of the French Grand Prix, but again we've got the glitch. We're still waiting for the drivers to get away. Revs building up now. The French Grand Prix is underway, and it looks like Granty didn't get the best of getaways, but Nip Stephen, once again, like in Bahrain, gets an absolute flyer of a start. He's side by side with Granty Boy and taking the lead of the race. In the first sequence of corners is Nip Stephen, up from third to first, and exactly the start that he would have been hoping for, not the start that Granty or Bamboo would have wanted.
Yeah, Tafour and Wienerbeck, the Racing Point and the Haas spun around, so they're a bit further behind. But everybody else quite cleanly, and El Capitan kind of gets hit by Red Bull of Blin Machine, I think, and gets passed by Kano, and there's more contact. But so far, everyone is surviving, and now along the back straight.
It's quite a big grouping of cars around the midfield. We're looking at El Capitan with Fire Up Flow in close attendance behind him. Broomhandle, who had such a good race in Bahrain. Well, he's just moved up into P12, but he's a bit further down than maybe we would have expected. Kono now is looking to get past Blim Machine for 9th place, and he's got that move done into turn 10. So Kono making well, actually he's just returned to where he started this Grand Prix. But up at the front,
kind of a poor start, but Blin's on the medium tire, so that's why.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. But up at the front, Nip Stephen has got Granty Boy right on his tail. Bamboo a few tenths of a second back, but very much in close attendance. Granty Boy is going to look around the outside for turn 1, but he thinks better of it for the time being. Plenty of time left in this race. Nip Stephen getting a bit out of shape coming out of turns 1 and 2.
Oh, there's a Williams off. I think that's Rockstar. Rockstar is spun, and he's losing just a heap of positions. He's going to be almost dead last by the time he rejoins, and there's also an Alfa Romeo.
Oh, Di Gaston.
Yes. It seems like the exit of turn 2 is catching some drivers out on that curb, and Rockstar's got a penalty. Not really quite sure. Maybe for it's a 10-second penalty. I didn't see what it was for. But already some drama here by the end of lap 1 into lap 2. Drivers seem to have sorted themselves out. But yeah, Broomhandle, you kind of mentioned him earlier, and he finished, I think, what, P2, P3 last week. down in P11, but on the alternate strategy. So I'm going to keep an eye on him throughout the race and see if he can climb up and score some good points again.
Yeah, and also the AlphaTauri boys, who are actually leading the Constructors' Championship after the first round, but they're currently in 12th and 14th out of the points. Meanwhile, at the front, this three-way battle that's developing between Nip Stephen, Granty Boy and Bamboo. Nip Stephen got a great jump at the start of the race, but he's not been able to pull away from Granty or Bamboo at the moment, and he runs a little bit wide there in turn 14. DRS is going to be activated on this next lap, and I would imagine that it's going to give Granty Boy the opportunity he needs to retake the lead of the Grand Prix. He's very close to the back of Nip Stephen, but he's just biding his time at the moment, waiting for an opportunity with the DRS to present itself.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not sure if Nip Stephen is trying to get away per se. Maybe he wants to kind of keep the boys behind him kind of close, just in case maybe Granty Boy passes him, and Blin Machine and El Capitan and Broomhandle having a great battle, by the way. But I think Nip Stephen just wants to kind of keep those boys close to him. In case he does get past, he can stay in their DRS and stay kind of in the slipstream.
Here goes Granty Boy up the inside with the DRS, and that's moved on, no problems. Cuts across the front of Nip Stephen a little bit there, going into the chicane, but Granty Boy back in the lead. And yes, Bamboo now alongside Nip Stephen for seconds, so Nip Stephen not having a great lap. He's lost 2 positions on the 2 back straights here, and it's back to the order that we started with.
Oh, and Nip Stephen's down the inside of Bamboo. Sorry to interrupt. We're going side by side now, and Bamboo ran wide, and Nip Stephen almost took advantage of that, and he's sticking his nose inside. We saw this last week at Bahrain. Nip Stephen can be maybe too aggressive without really kind of gauging the situation.
Yeah, and this, if these two do start battling, it's going to just allow Granty Boy to get away. And actually, Granty is out of DRS range already just from those two battling for a short time there. He sets the fastest lap of the race as well. Nip Stephen with a lot of overspeed coming into turn 1, but he can't do anything about the Renault at this stage. But it's very close between those two.
Absolutely. Ooh. Gosh, Broomhandle and Fire Flow going side by side through turns 1, 2, and possibly 3. But Broomhandle holds it. So the AlphaTauri boys are having a little bit of difficulty trying to get through the field. Broomhandle is defending very, very well. But he's, I think, more focused on defending than he is attacking El Capitan. So we'll see what he can do on the back straight. But Granty Boys already put in a 1.3 second lead just within a lap. Bamboo and Nip Stephen, I think, are too occupied with each other at the moment. And looks like Fire Flow gets past Broomhandle, going around the outside of turn 7, which is fantastic.
El Capitan is close up behind Blin Machine for P9. Blin Machine, the leading medium tyre runner at this stage. And there's a little bit of a train forming here behind Syrah in the Alfa Romeo. Kono is right behind him. Blin Machine going down the inside of Kono. That was...
They're about to go 3 wide.
Oh, El Capitan's right there. That camera angle wasn't doing it justice, so back to the onboard. And does El Capitan go for it down the inside? He does. Blin leaves the room, and he does hold on to P8 for the moment. Who's that in the pits? D-Swish.
D-Swish.
After 4 laps, that seems early.
That's got to be wing damage. Got to be. Let me check him. Doesn't look like it.
Tyre wear an issue already, even after 4 laps?
Possibly, because he started on the soft tires, right?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Not chaos, but really close battling between the AlphaTauris and Broomhandle. Both of them got past Broomhandle, so they might have worked together as a team, and, you know, they probably are in a chat together. But yeah, they're moving up quite nicely. I think they've made up quite a few positions since the start of the race, but that was a little hairy between Blin Machine, El Capitan, and Kono, I believe, right?
Yeah. Kono now going around the outside of Syrah into turn 10, and I think he's pulled it off. He has pulled it off. So Conno up into P6. I do wonder actually if it was a strategic move by D-Swish to switch tyres, because Blim Machine on the mediums is having absolutely no trouble keeping up with the soft tyre runners in front of him. So maybe we're just at that point now, and Syrah is actually pitting.
Syrah's in the pits. I think the soft tires are dead now, because I think, you know, we said at the beginning of the show.
Oh, and Nip Steven as well.
Don't last.
Nip Steven in the
soft
pits.
Tire runners are they're not able to keep pace with those medium tire runners. If they stay out another lap, they're going to lose so much.
Nip Steven's gone for the hard tyres. I don't know if they'll have enough life in them to last for 21 laps, but that's going to be interesting to monitor. Granty Boy, meanwhile, 1.9 seconds ahead of Bamboo, so that gap has stabilised since Bamboo was able to get ahead of Nip Steven. Granty Boy may be extending it slightly at this stage. Blim Machine is on a charge at the moment on the medium tyres. He's right on the back of Conno, and with the DRS, that's going to be P4 for the Red Bull driver.
And I was going to say, if Blim Machine can get past Conno, I think Conno's going to pit this lap. That's only going to, you know, hurt Conno's in lap. And the guys he was battling around that have already pitted, he's going to be behind them now after he exits the pits. So I think Conno's going to be, he's going to lose maybe 1, 2, maybe even 3 positions here if he decides to pit this lap. And Blim Machine is just going to keep on hustling along and, you know, stay out there. He's literally a machine at the moment. You know, just putting in the lap times and being really consistent with his pace. So I think Blim is on for a good points haul today.
Broomhandle and Gotney Weeb were going side by side again through the middle sector. Fire Up Flow has pulled away to a second ahead of Broomhandle now, and we've got more soft tyre runners in the pits. Conno is putting on the hard tyres. Juan has gone for the mediums, and Rockstar is coming up to his pit box. He's in the Williams, so he's way down at the end of this slow pit lane, 37 miles an hour through here.
Oh my gosh, look at D-Swish.
Hard tyres for Rockstar. Where is D-Swish?
He's already almost into turn 3, and look at the guys just exiting the pits. Look at Juan and Conno. They're just now going through turn 2. That's a massive undercut that D-Swish got. So that,
well, he's on the back of
2 laps earlier.
He's on the back of is running in P4 before the pit stop window. So yeah, that's a great result for D-Swish. Kruna is going past D Gaston and Turkey Whacker with DRS engaged into turn 8, and he's gone a little bit deep into turn 8, but he's able to hold it together for turn 9. So two positions gained there for the Renault driver. That was very nice.
Incredible. The leaders are pitting, both of them.
Okay, so now we get to see the tyre strategy for these guys, the leaders, Granty Boy and Bamboo. Bamboo stops first. Those are hard tyres for Bamboo, and for Granty Boy, hard tyres as well. So this is now lap 8 of 27. Blim Machine moves into the lead with Fire Up Flow in second place, Broomhandle in third, and Granty Boy slots in P6, and is Bamboo...
Nip Steven and Bamboo. Oh god, that was close.
I rejoined that just at the perfect time. Bamboo just holding on to that position. It's P7 at the moment, but in effect it is P2, and he is going to get the DRS on the back straight.
And he is in full attack mode at this point, and Bamboo is trying to get his tires warmed up quite quickly because you know that Nip Steven is coming, and you know, Bamboo he's already down at 22%. So you know, we said that he's a great ERS. You know, he conserves his ERS quite well, and he's already down quite a lot. Nip Steven down at 19%. So I think Nip Steven just barely misses opportunity to get him, but I think he's you know, he's quite aggressive in the corner, so we'll see what he can do in Sector 3. Granty Boy, though, has obviously come out about 2 seconds in front. So Granty Boy retains the P1. Obviously P6 right now, but after all the pit stops rotate through, it'll be back in P1. Nip Steven locking up just a little bit though. Want to avoid doing that to get those hard tires at the end of the race.
Fire Up Flow has been catching up to Blim Machine for first place at the moment in the last couple of laps or so. So Blim Machine had the early advantage on the mediums, but now he's being reeled in by the AlphaTauri, and he's going to try and keep to within a second here, going through these sequence of slow corners before the first DRS straight. The gap's about half a second. Don't know if that's going to be close enough at this stage to make a move, although he's using his overtake on the back straight, and that has given him a great speed boost, and yep, he is taking the lead. Fire Up Flow.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're going to be pitting this lap. I think it was De Gaston, or somebody else, I think, pit from the medium tires just on lap 8 here. So I wonder where Fire Up Flow and Blim Machine are going to come out into the come out of the pits.
Granty Boy's just got ahead of
strategy.
Yeah. Granty Boy's just overtaken Gotney Weeb. That's for P5 at the moment, but everyone ahead of Granty at the moment is on the mediums and hasn't pitted yet, so not really a battle for the position. But at the same time, Granty's got to negotiate this traffic and try and maintain a gap to Bamboo, and he's doing that pretty effectively so far. He's already got ahead of Forza Juve in the Ferrari and sets the fastest lap of the race as well, a 1:32.3. So obviously he helped out by having DRS, but Granty's lead over Bamboo is definitely growing, and now he's got broom handle in his sights.
Yeah, so far a pretty interesting race, and I'm just curious to see how those drivers starting P11 on downward, starting on the medium tire, how they're going to end up, because they're obviously going to be on a one-stop strategy. The common sense thing to do would be to put on the hard tire. But you got Fire Up Flow, Blim Machine, Broom Handle, Forza, Gotney Weeb are still the only ones to pit.
Oh, Nip Steven!
Steven!
Oh, he was so close to the back of Bamboo in the turn 8 and 9 chicane, and then he just lost it on the exit and has dropped back from his rival in the Renault. So bit of breathing space now for Bamboo. Maybe that will allow him to concentrate on Granty Boy ahead, who has got past Broom Handle, by the way. So he's now in P3 and is 3 seconds adrift of Blim Machine in the Red Bull.
And who's that? Somebody dives into the pits. That's Gotney Weeb. So he's decided that he's had enough of those medium tires and he's good to go to the end of the race. But the top two still have not pit, so they seem very content on their tires, and they don't seem to be suffering any tire wear, or if they do, they seem to be finding the pace and keeping a consistent pace. And I think Blim Machine is playing it very smartly at the moment, just by staying in Fire Up Flow's slipstream. And we got a yellow flag in Sector 3.
De Gaston.
That's De Gaston, yeah. Probably just overheated the tires a little bit. Those hard tires are, not very nice on traction.
Gotney Weeb's just emerging from the pits in P15. So, contrasting fortunes so far for the AlphaTauris, first and 15th positions, although Fire Up Flow is yet to pit, as we've said. Granty Boy did set another fastest lap at 1:32.0, and he is 2.2 seconds behind Blin now for what is second position. I don't know that Blin's going to have a lot to defend with when Granty Boy gets there.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm kind of wondering this, though, and we're about to see... Yes, I was just going to say, because then the top two are pitting.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, Fire Up Flow is pitting. I was going to say, the AlphaTauri boys, they started outside of the top 10. Now, they have the pace, I think, to qualify inside the top 10, so I'm not sure if they qualify outside the top 10 on purpose to put themselves on the alternate strategy, and then obviously one of them, which was Gatnui, pitted first, and then the lap later, now it's Fire Up Flow's turn. So I'm not sure if there's some intentional strategy calling going on there, but they could be sitting in a really nice place here shortly because Syrah, Juan, D-Swish, and Crooner, Broomhandle, and Lynn, they have to pit again. There's no way they can go the rest of the race on those medium tires.
Syrah's just picked Fire Up Flow for P8 as Fire Up Flow is coming out of the pits, and Juan has gone ahead of the AlphaTauri as well, so Fire Up Flow down to P10. So that's not too bad a result. And these guys in front are going to have to pit. Yeah, because both the drivers the next 4 drivers ahead are definitely going to have to make another pit stop. They can't get to the end on the mediums. And now this is a DRS train forming here. Juan and Fire Up Flow closing in on Syrah. And they're going to go 3 wide into turn 8, are they? Syrah backs out of it early. Juan goes through. Syrah fights back against Fire Up Flow. Wow, good stuff. Fire Up Flow stays in P10.
Oof, that was a little hair-raising. I think Syrah did a wonderful job of, just backing off a little bit, not wanting to involve himself. Now he's going to be passing Juan, so maybe that played out really nicely. And they go wheel to wheel down into turn whatever it is. But really great driving from all 3 of them. And we have Blend Machine finally in the pits. My goodness, and so is Broomhandle. So I want to see where they come out compared to, was it a Fire Up Flow who they were fighting with?
Yeah, so Fire Up Flow is just coming up to the final turn on the back of Syrah. And we're Broomhandle and Blinn crawling along in this pit lane. So they are going to emerge behind this battle. Comfortably behind that battle. Yeah, and Broomhandle... Ooh, El Capitan just gets ahead of Broomhandle for P11. I don't know what it is, but I keep thinking that I'm seeing rain. And I'm seeing like those sort of aero trails coming off the back wing slightly, which is normally a sign that it is raining, but checking the onboard, there's no droplets on the car, so
yeah. I kind of see the same thing. I saw the little tails of the cars during the formation lap, and I'm thinking, okay, either we're all about to have some blown engines, or it's just a glitch. Yeah. But I think the fake rain you're seeing is the potentially the frame rate of the game. Possibly,
yeah. Broomhandle alongside El Capitan for P11. Well, El Capitan has just obliterated turn 10. Looked like he cut it on the inside of the curb there, and I think it unstabilized his car a bit, and he's given up the position as a result. So Broomhandle moves up to P11.
Maybe just got nervous.
Yeah. Any contact going through there could have been disastrous for both of them. So glad to see that didn't happen.
So far, we're still running with all 19 drivers, and we had, I think, 3 or 4 retirements last week in Bahrain. So it's good to see all 19 still up on track, fighting for some positions. Clouds have gotten a little darker, and I don't think we'll get rain. We're just about over halfway done with the race, but it is, I think, slightly darker than it was at the beginning. So if we're going to see rain, it's going to be coming at the end of the race. Or potentially next lap, you never know.
Well, I wonder, because the drivers have all opted for... just quickly, Fire Up Flow going past Juan for P6. So Fire Up Flow having a good run on these hard tyres at the moment. And Kono and Broomhandle battling over the last point paying position at the moment. Kono trying to hold on. Broomhandle right up behind him. Broomhandle's having a pretty exciting race. Quite a few battles he's been involved in so far.
Ton of battles, and over revving the McLaren. I don't think the engine's gonna like that too much. But yeah, he's been having a lot of good battles, and look at Kono just running really, really wide. Broomhandle's close right up on him. I don't think Broomhandle's gonna go for it here. Jinx is left, Jinx is right. and is waiting here flag in sector 1, probably for an off track.
Yeah, I didn't see anything wrong for anyone. Yeah, maybe it was just an off track that caused that, because that would have been one of the front runners. That would have been dramatic.
Yes. Would have not been good.
Blin Machine is very close up behind Syrah here for P8.
You know, Blin Machine, actually, he's really not running P9. If you take out those medium runners, and he's actually running in what, P1, 2, 3, 4, P5 at the moment. So that's pretty solid.
Yeah, and he's going for it around the outside of Syrah on DRS straight before turn 8, where we've seen quite a bit of battles. And Broomhandle and Kono again side by side. Kono defending for his life for P10 and holding on to it for the time being.
Really good defending from Kono, and knowing exactly where to place his car. I think he's predicting, moving over and braking and accelerating just at the right moments, just to kind of throw off Broomhandle. Because if you accelerate and place your car in the right spots here at Paul Ricard, I think it's very difficult for the car behind to overtake. And then strategically, where do you use your ERS and deploy that? Something to note also, Juan has just gotten a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. Now, I just want to remind whoever's watching that we are running regular track limits. So I think to get a time penalty on regular track limits is, I guess, interesting. I'm not really sure where Juan has been driving to get those, to get that penalty. But drivers are allowed to use the curbs on the exits. Any of the red and white curbs on exits, they have to keep one wheel and one tire on that. And then on the entry, at least one tire has to stay on the white lines or on the track, which I just saw Kano not do that, but we'll just pretend we never saw that and move on. So, great battling between Kano and Broomhandle. And another thing to note, Granty Boy almost 9 seconds in front of Bamboo. So
here comes Broomhandle again.
Oh god.
Oh, and Kono very, very on the edge with the defense there. He looked like he may have forced Broomhandle off track a little bit, but
I think it was more than force. I think he completely obliterated him and pushed him off the track. So have to be careful with that.
Yep, the elbows are being used.
Yes, that is true. Maybe not as much as we saw Turkey and Nip Steven last week, but that was interesting.
Right. There's still time though. And funnily enough, that was the Mercedes versus the McLaren. This is just the same battle, but the other teammates.
The other drivers, yes. Something tells me we're going to see a lot of McLaren versus Mercedes this year in TCR Silver, possibly also in Real F1, which is starting here in a few weeks. Very excited for that as well.
Oh, Broomhandle thought about going down the inside there, but Kono once again, although Kono's run
really
wide,
good run.
and Broomhandle, yeah. Although that might not have been the best place to overtake, because now Kono is going to have the DRS coming onto the back straight. He just needs to try and keep close through this sequence, which he has not managed to do. I think Broomhandle's got this one done and dusted.
Wow. That's that was insane how quickly Broomhandle just kind of left Kano. But look at the tire difference. I mean, Broomhandle has 4-lap-old hard tires, and Kano's already on 10-lap-old hard tires. So 6 laps more makes a huge difference, especially on the harder compound. But that, in fire-up flows 12 seconds behind the top 3. But I don't know. Do you think he can maybe catch up to Nip Steven?
Well, it just depends how much those hard tyres go off towards the end of the race for the front 3, because they pitted fairly early. They've done 10 laps at least on those tyres already. Juan has come into the pits. I just saw a yellow flag in sector 3, but I can't see what it's for. Oh, there's a Haas. Oh, is that the Wienerback?
Yeah, he's just stopped. for some reason. Oh, he's about to get going again.
Has he spun it? I can't
I
quite.
think
I
so.
can't get to him. Oh, there we go. Okay, so he's back up and running, and Juan is coming towards the end of the pit lane, and he is in 15th place after his second pit stop. So the only man now, I think, who needs to pit again is Syrah in P6. He's done 12 laps on the mediums. We might well see him coming in again. But the two-stop strategy has definitely not worked today. Just looking at Krooner, as Broomhandle now goes past Syrah for P6. But Krooner started in... Well, certainly, I think he started in the top 5 and was in 4th place during the early laps of this Grand Prix. And with the 2 stops, he's currently in P13. I mean, he might be able to recover it with fresher tyres, but it's not a great outlook at the moment with 8 laps to go. We got another yellow flag for De Gaston. He's gone off before the DRS straight.
Yeah, so talking about those tires, I've noted that for Thursday.
Yeah.
So it's, I think I know what strategy I'm going to use on Thursday. I think you do too. But Krooner's, he's just a few tenths behind Gottany Weeb, who's on the hard tires. But once he gets past P11, that's another 4-second gap to, who's that, Forza in the Ferrari, who's now in P8 or P9. The Ferraris are trading positions here. So if they keep on fighting, those Ferrari drivers keep on fighting, Krooner may see a top 10, maybe get a few points, but definitely not what he was expecting. His teammate, though, Bamboo, just falling away from
Krooner down the inside of Rockstar. Oh, and contact. Rockstar's lost the back of the car. Krooner aggressively moving up into P11 and in quite an unusual spot as well. I think that was turn 4. So he wasn't waiting around for the DRS straight. He wanted to get that move done. And I don't know how Rockstar's going to feel about how it went down, but either way, Krooner up into P11.
Does Rockstar have wing damage?
I don't think so. I think it was more side-on contact, and it just made him lose the back end slightly. So I think that he should be okay to continue. I'm just seeing a comment coming through saying that the 10-second penalty for Rockstar was unfair. So I'll have to.
Yeah, if he got pushed off the track, I wasn't able to see it, but if he got pushed off the track and acquired that penalty,
Kono pits.
It'll be pretty easy to remove. 12 lap bold. Ooh, okay, so this is interesting because there's 7 laps to go. Kano pits on 12 lap bold hard tires. Well, who else has the same age or more? And that's the top 3. So, can they make it? I think they should stay out because there's a 13 or 14 second gap down to Fire Up Flow in P4. So I think they'd be quite foolish to kind of give away that top 3 and give away the track position, in my opinion.
Well, I'm pretty sure that the medium tyres were going for about 12 laps, so I can't imagine that the hard tyres are worn enough after that many laps to warrant coming in. So I don't know, maybe just a change of strategy for Kono. Maybe those tyres just weren't working for him very well. But anyway, Krooner with the DRS is going past Gottny Weeb.
That's easy.
Although Gottny Weeb fights back.
Oh, gosh.
Well, there might have been contact. I couldn't really see from the angle I was looking at, but either way, they're both still running.
Though.
Yeah, it was. Maybe just trying to catch Krooner out with the element of surprise, but Krooner was unfazed, and he, again, moving up the field on these mediums.
Yeah, Krooner was not surprised by that. He was at a Haas, I think the Wiener back, but got going again. Kano, though, I'm not sure. I think he was in a really, really good position, track position, and now he's got a heap of time to make up with only really 6.5 laps to go. So, unless there was like a lot of wing damage and he was losing a lot of time on the hard tire, I don't know if that was really a good strategy call. But let's see what he can do. He's got some time to make up to get back in the top 10, so we'll see.
Just to say quickly, while we're having a bit of bit of a lull in the action, I suppose, that we still are... well, we've released TCR stickers. We had a giveaway for them last week, and they are still available to buy on the TCR website. So if you want to buy some stickers for TCR, please feel free to go over to the website and make your purchase, and it will contribute towards the league, which would be greatly appreciated. Karuna up into P8 now. He's just overtaken El Capitan. So maybe for Karuna, maybe the two-stop isn't such a bad call after all, because he's really been charging through. Oh, Nip Steven in the pits.
Oh my goodness. What?
From P3.
I called it. I called it. I called it.
It seems so, yes. And he was on them
tires.
for 15 laps, which is a lap more than Bamboo and Granty Boy.
You know, he might be thinking, I have nothing to lose. I'm not catching P1 and P2, and P3 is not catching me, so let me put on the soft tires and make a charge and finish P3, maybe, you know? And maybe set the fastest lap, because that's another point.
Having said that, he's in P6 now after that pit stop, so he's lost 3 positions. Which, I mean, that's quite a big risk to have taken at this late stage. So I don't know, maybe the tyre wear is becoming an issue.
Maybe. But he wasn't losing any time to fire up flow. If anything, he extended by a few tenths, maybe a second. So, again, maybe he just, you know, how we see in real F1, maybe he wants to set the fastest lap and just kind of pick up that extra point. You know, as you said, kind of after qualifying. You know, we only have 12 races during the season. So any, like, 1 point could make a difference between 3rd and 4th in the championship, or, you know, 4th and 5th. You know, we've seen it back in 2007, 2008 in real F1, you know, championships being won by 1 point. So maybe he's, you know, thinking long term.
Well, he's already got past Broomhandle for 5th, and obviously he's going to have so much more pace than everyone in front of him now. He's 2 compounds quicker, and also on fresh softs as opposed to pretty old hard tyres on everyone ahead of him. So that does give Nip Steven the advantage, and he's not too far behind Blin and Fire Up Flow, so it's very possible that he can recover that 3rd place. Whether he can pick up any more positions than that, I'm not too sure, but lap 23 out of 27, so 5 laps remaining including the current lap. And Gotney Weeb has just gone ahead of D-Swish for P10.
Interesting. Steven is throwing it around the corners. It is absolutely fantastic to watch. And I think, yeah, he's going to catch Fire Up Flow. There's no way he can hold him off. So I think a good strategy call by Nip Steven. I think he's not going to be able to catch the top 2. I think they're pretty much locked into their hard tire strategy at the moment. But yeah, I think Nip Steven, you know, he was going to get what, 15
Fire
points?
Up Flow and sorry, Gotney Weeb and El Capitan bumping side pods there. El Capitan on the defence, and Gotney Weeb was going for it right around the outside, and there was a bit of contact between them, and he's looking down the inside of turn 10. They're side by side.
Oh,
but Gotney Weeb has got the inside.
Look at D-Switch right behind, trying to take advantage of both of them.
El Capitan going wide into turn 12 or 13, can't quite remember which at the moment, but D-Swish, well, he's got a tyre advantage as well, you would think. He's on the mediums. But wow, that came out of nowhere a little bit, that little exchange. And
that did.
El Capitan with the DRS now, he's going to try and come back at Gotney Weeb, but he's very low on ERS. Whereas Gotney Weeb seems to have a bit more in reserve, although not too much more. They're both running quite low. Nip Steven also on the back of Blin. And they're coming up to the DRS. So Nip Steven doing a little bit of a dummy to the right and then pulling out to the left hand side, and that is him up into P4. And Kruna going past Forza Juve as well, so quite a few overtakes happening all of a sudden in the last stages of this race.
D-Swish gets past the Ferrari and now sets his sights on Gatini right in front of him. So D-Swish is... It seems like the medium tire runners have really played it smart. Like the two-stop seems to be working just as well as the one-stop.
Yeah, you're right. It's kind of come to life a little bit in these last few laps, it feels like, as they've quietly been catching up to the drivers on the hards. And yeah, D-Swish, Kruna, Nip Steven on the softs. It's all started to come back to them in these late stages.
I think there's, like, if you know, obviously the earlier the drivers who were on the hard tires pit. So if you had, you know, like who was it, Nip Steven? I think that the hard tires just fall off. So I think you have to wait a bit longer on the first stint to be able to put on the hard tires to make that one-stop strategy work. If you don't do that, I think the two-stop is probably just as fast, if not faster. But yeah, pretty interesting with the strategy calls and the tire choice. But good for the drivers to, you know, really bring a show and really, you know, take it to each other with the battles and all that stuff.
Well, we certainly want to see them trying different strategies as D-Swish pulls off a move for 9th, going past Scotty Weeb now. Yeah, because the strategy battles are such an integral part of Formula 1. They're part of what makes it such a show, because if they all were on the same strategy, then it's quite possible that they would pretty much just be following each other around for the whole race, not doing anything different. So, you know, we have the 3 tyre compounds available for that reason, so that we can end up with these situations. And it doesn't always happen straight away. It can sometimes be a bit of a slow burn, and then all of a sudden, in the last few laps, you see a flurry of action because there's overtakes going on that have been sort of building up for a while. So that's kind of what we're seeing here, and Nip Steven is probably the next man who's going to thrill us. With just 2 laps to go here, he is still catching Fire Up Flow for 3rd place.
I bet you Fire Up Flow is not as calm as he was early on in the race. I bet he's sweating bullets right now, trying to hit every apex and trying to maximize every exit. And I'm sure he's trying not to look in his rearview mirror, but you know, there's an angry Mercedes coming up towards his way, so we'll see what happens. Nip Steven has almost depleted his ERS. Let's see Fire Up Flow. Fire Up Flow actually has a lot of ERS, so he might be saving it for that last lap gas at the back straight. Oh, as he takes a bit too much speed into turn 8 and doesn't really get a great exit. Nip Steven is that much closer now, only 5/10 away.
I think if I was Fire Up Flow, I would just save it up for that last lap, that last DRS back straight. That's going to be Nip Steven's chance, and Fire Up Flow is just going to have to try and defend it with everything that he's got. Although Nip Steven is close enough to even pull it off into turn 1 as Granty Boy starts off the final lap. But our eyes are on this battle for the final spot on the podium. And Nip Steven again is low on ERS. Fire Up Flow is not using his, although he is going defensive. And that's going to be enough for the time being, I think. Oh, Nip Steven late on the brakes, but he had to slot back in.
This is good battling here, and Fire Up Flow is still not using his ERS, neither is Nip Steven. But this is very, very defensive driving from Fire Up Flow, and kudos to him for really making these hard tires last, and he drifts through the corner, and this is drifts through that corner as well, and Nip Steven is thinking he's cautious.
Here we go. Nip Steven's got the DRS open, but Fire Up Flow is able to defend with the ERS that he has saved up. They are side by side each other. Nip Steven definitely going to send it, and yeah, good move. Obviously, with the soft tyres. Ooh, don't do that, Fire Up Flow. It's the last lap. Hold on to P4. But yeah, Nip Steven with the grip that those softs are going to be giving him.
Here comes Fire Up Flow.
Fire Up Flow with an incredible run out of turn 11. And Granty Boys won the race. We completely missed that because we've been watching this battle. But yeah, great race from Granty Boy once again. 2 out of 2 in Season 11. Bamboo picking up second place. A good recovery from him after the disappointing result in Bahrain in round 1. And Nip Stephen, who pitted around lap 20 I think it was, to switch over to the softs and give us a bit more of an exciting finish. He crosses in third. Fire Up Flow, another good finish for him, and also for Blin Machine in P5. Broomhandle in 6th, picking up some points. Crooner in P7 for Renault, and then Juve in 8th, D-Swish in 9th, ahead of Got Any Weeb. Those are your point finishers for the French Grand Prix in Silver Class, Season 11. The second round of the championship. And Granty Boy, well, I mean, did we talk about him in the race? Hardly. He was just controlling things at the front, as we saw him do in Bahrain as well. Not such a dominant victory tonight. Only the 8-second lead rather than about 30 seconds. But still, excellent job.
Yeah, what a controlled victory, I think, by Granty. I don't think he really showed everything he had, but that was very, very controlled by him and well deserved. For a second, I thought Fire Up Flow was going to keep that position, and I wanted maybe you should have used some ERS a bit earlier. You know what could have been, but really, really good drive from Nip Stephen to really claw back that P3, and then plus the extra point, I think, for fastest lap. I'm not really sure who got that. But if there's anybody, it was going to be Nip Stephen with those soft tires.
I think it was Nip Stephen who picked it up. Yeah, just towards the end there. So no Grand Slam this week for Granty Boy, but another victory, 2 out of 2 in Silver Class. And, well, he's looking in great shape for the championship, even at this early stage. Only 2 races in. Blin Machine in the comments or in the live chat, he's very happy. Another 5th place for him, 10 more points in the championship. And yes, Nip Stephen did get the fastest lap, 1 minute 30.577. So yeah, it worked out perfectly for Nip Stephen actually, because we were saying, you know, if he could pick up the point for fastest lap while still finishing on the podium, then, you know, making that call to pit for the second time was actually a good decision.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, he maximized his result, you know, by getting the fastest lap, and instead of getting 15 points, he got himself 16 points. And with these 12 rounds, well, now 10 to go, you know, every point is going to count. So very smart on his part, and very lucky to get that P3 back on the final lap.
Yep.
Alright, I'm going to be inviting our podium finishers. Get some feedback from them and ask them a few questions. Let's see what we got.
Just want to take this moment while we're waiting just to acknowledge our sponsor, Fanatec. I've recently made the transition from controller to wheel, which I've mentioned before.
Best decision you've ever made in your life.
Best decision I ever made in my entire life. But no, I mean in terms of racing it is, because it's just fantastic. You know, the gear that they have is certainly a cut above, and I'm certainly having a blast using it, and slowly but surely rediscovering my pace, but for the time being just having a blast using Fanatec equipment. And if you use the link down in the description to access the Fanatec website, you can contribute towards TCR as well. So please do that if you're considering buying any equipment. And I think we now have our podium drivers with us in the party chat.
Yes, we do. And we're going to go ahead and start again with our P3 finisher, who is Nip Stephen, who we were watching the final few laps trying to close down on Fire Up Flow, and what an interesting strategy call towards the end, Stephen. So kind of tell us about the start of the race, and you had a really, really good launch into turn 1, taking the lead of the race, I believe. And then obviously the late strategy call to go onto the soft tires and claw back P3. So instead of getting 15 points, you got yourself 16 points. So well done. Kind of tell us about it.
Yeah. I had a pretty good start. P1 in the first corner, but after a few laps, my tires were dying, so I needed to stop. After I stopped, I just lost a lot of time, and I'm just too stressed. My bad.
Oh, you're good.
But yeah, Chatty and Bamboo were pretty fast at the beginning. My tires were dying. I just needed to pit. I pitted. They got the I didn't got the undercut on them, so they just stayed in front of me the whole race. Afterwards, my hard tires were dying since I pitted too early. I pitted, I think, in lap 4 or 5, which made me pit late for the soft tires, since I knew I could have made it to the end with them. And then pretty close battles with a few guys in the field for P3, and finally getting that podium for the team.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic to watch, and we were so enthralled in that battle, the final lap, that we actually, missed Granty Boy crossing the line. No offense, Granty Boy. Fantastic drive by you. We'll get to you in a second. Right. But yeah, really good drive, Nip Steven, again, and it's always a pleasure watching you. Chatty, you got anything?
No, I think Nip Steven summed everything up pretty well there. So just to say congratulations and thanks for the entertainment, especially towards the end. That was exciting stuff, seeing you come back from P6, I think it was. So yeah, good job.
Thank you.
All right, and our P2 finisher, who is our Season 10 reigning champion for Silver Class, Bamboo. We missed you on the podium last week due to an incident, no fault of your own, but it is good to see you back here in the commentary booth post-race. So kind of, if you can tell us a little bit about your race, and it seemed a little bit lonely for the second half, just kind of on your own, but you kept consistent to be able to finish P2 today.
Okay, thank you. So, Steven take a great start. After, I try just to stay back to Steven and Granty Boy. So, I push, and after I pit to I think so, at 6th lap I pit, and I have a tough exit because Steven is on my back. So I try to keep him on my back. I think so we have like 3-4 lap, close lap. And after, I try just to save my tire just for finish the race, because I am happy with this P2. So that's it. It's just a long race, Save the tire and that's it. Because Granty Boy it's too fast today, so just I keep my P2.
Yeah, Granty Boy is quite quick, isn't he? What are you going to try to do in the next few races to catch him?
I don't know. I don't know, because this year I take everything off, so it's like training for me too. Because I want to move in a platinum the next season, so we see. Sure, I wanna try some things.
Absolutely. Chad, you got anything for Bamboo?
Yeah, I mean, good to see you back, obviously, and yeah, it's good to see you trying to make the push up into platinum. You raced as a reserve there on Thursday, which was good to see you. I think we had pretty much everyone who was in a championship battle last season from the 3 classes, except for Kersey, obviously, but everyone else from those championship battles was racing in Platinum in Bahrain, which was awesome to see. But yeah, I mean, just how do you see the rest of Silver Class going forward for yourself, Bamboo? Are you thinking of the championship again, or just trying to get some wins? What's your take on that?
I'm trying to get some wins, and the very important things, it's more the constructor for this year. I hope so with Kroner we can take the constructor championship, because I know for the pilot you wanna be hard, so we see. I wanna do my best.
Yeah, absolutely. Great job today.
Thank you.
Good job, Bamboo.
Thanks.
All right, into let's chat again to our P1 finisher, Granty Boy, who was putting in another dominant performance tonight, just like last week in Bahrain. So Granty Boy, good to see you on the top step of the podium once again. Just kind of tell us about the start. You didn't get the best of starts because Steven kind of got the jump on you into turn 1. So what was your mindset after that, after you saw him kind of overtake you? You know, were you aggressive? Did you kind of want to sit back and kind of see how things played out? Kind of tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a cracking start from Steven. I literally saw red arrows behind me, and I was like, wow. Gave him a bit of room. I was more worried about Bamboo because he was like pretty close off the start, and that's the main guy I was worried about. But I wasn't expecting Nip Steven to have that start. That was quality, by the way. After that, I was just staying behind him. I was waiting for the DRS. It was all patience and in the first few laps, and just obviously keeping hold of them to that P2 and not have that problem with Bamboo behind me. And yeah, it was literally just pretty much forward from there. I wasn't expecting the soft hard. My tyres were like 81% at the end. I was just holding on. I was losing the time down because I was just trying to keep the tyre wear, and I didn't want them to burst. That would have been my race over. So 13 seconds I think I had. I was thinking of going onto the softs. I didn't know how quick they were going to be at the end. I've never tried it before, so I was just sticking at it and just try keeping that tyre wear for the last few laps for P1 today.
That's awesome, man. That's a good strat, and sounds like a really good race. Going into the rest of the season, though, what's your what are you aiming for? Obviously, you've won the first 2 rounds of the championship. So, are you thinking about the drivers' championship? Are you thinking, you just want to have fun? What are you thinking about?
I mean, obviously, like I'm in, a few races of others. Chatty knows I'm just in there for a bit of fun, and obviously just up my pace. To try and get like quicker than what I am now, and hopefully try and move up to gold. Take the ABS off, and because I've seen a few guys in there and stuff, and I felt like that's where my competitive is. But I mean, these guys in there, I take nothing from them. I will never do that. But yeah, it's fantastic to see these guys racing there. It's a great league, and I'm really wanting to help my team out, to be honest. He seems to be struggling over the past couple of races, and he's going to keep going with a will, and I'm hoping he can, bring in some points for the Haas. I really hope he can.
Awesome. I was going to say, when you said, I just want to get quicker and improve my pace, I don't think the other guys really want to hear that.
No, not really. Sorry about that.
You have some really, really awesome pace and really good racecraft as well. Chad, you got anything?
Yeah, well, I mean, me and Professional, we can sort of relate to your situation where one driver's doing really well and the other one's struggling on a new wheel. Sounds very familiar. But when Nips, were you aware that Nip Steven had pitted for the softs, and were you sort of keeping an eye on that at all? Because I guess that would have been around the time you were thinking about making the switch as well.
I mean, for me, I know it was saying it was like a 3-stop, like soft, medium, medium, but I know the hards are pretty good around here, and when I did see him pit and somebody else, I can't remember the guy's name, but I did see somebody else pit at the same time, and my tyre wear wasn't like as bad. I did keep them quite comfortable, so they were going for I think it was like 3 laps or something before the red marks started coming up saying, your tyres are sort of burning out now and, kind of need to pit. So I just thought I'd just try and keep going. I felt like Bamboo was staying with me to see what I was going to do. Fair play to him. And kept the hearts to the end, and as I said, just a tie away for the last few laps.
Yeah, it's tough for the three last lap.
Yeah, it was. It was
like
definitely
75, 70. Oof.
Oh, blimey! Oh, you kept your tyres a bit better than mine.
Yes.
Nah, fair play. Well done today.
All
All
right.
right, well, that I think concludes our podium interviews for today. Again, well done to our P1 finisher and our winner of the French Grand Prix here in TCR Silver class, Granty Boy 93. P2 goes to Bamboo, our reigning Season 10 Silver class champion, and then our P3 to Nip Steven. So we, again, congrats to all of them and hope to see them back on the podium next race or sometime this season. Yeah, thank you guys, and have a really good night. Enjoy.
Thank you. Have a good night, guys.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you guys too. So I guess all that remains for us to say is, well, just to thank obviously our drivers and you know, our stewards, everyone involved in TCR, and also to thank our sponsors again, Fanatec. Obviously, we said before about how great their equipment is, and you can use the link in the description below to help out with the league if you want to buy some equipment. And a reminder as well of the TCR stickers, which are available from the TCR website to buy. And again, that would be contributing towards the running of the league and would be greatly appreciated by us. We had the giveaway last week, so we really want to, you know, get the word out there on that front, and you know, make sure that the word gets out. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore, but it's probably time to sign off, right? Yeah, and obviously thanks again, 007 Professional, for joining me in the booth tonight.
Absolutely. Pleasure as always. Pleasure as always.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, thanks everyone for watching and for leaving comments in the live chat. And just to say as well that we will be back tomorrow night for Golden Class, same start time, same track, so 8:15 PM Eastern Time at the French Grand Prix. Oh, we should have got Bamboo to pronounce the place for us, but anyway, never mind.
Oh, yes, we should have. We can ask him next week if he's on the podium.
Yeah. And then, of course, Thursday night is Platinum Class, same time, 8:15 Eastern Time. Myself and Professional will be competing alongside each other as teammates again, so looking forward to that.
Come watch, because Alfa Romeo is going to get a 1-2.
Yes. You heard it here first. Yeah. But yeah, until then, everyone have a great evening, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow night for Golden Class. So yeah, take care.